let you know, Israel was very instrumental in having us set up this system. And so we look forward to being able to share more about that. If they are online, they can do it themselves. If not, then you know that we have been telling you that we got assistance from them and sponsorship from them in this webinar possible today. I'll invite now Candy from Xavier Naturals to share with us at this time. Yes, we're hearing you. Welcome.
Okay, therefore I'll be going after John. All right.
Oh, all right. So fine. We can wait until John. I was just checking to see who was ready. Given that I have not heard from Israel, we can take you after John. That's perfectly fine. Thank you so very much, Xavier.
No problem.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me make welcome our third presenter. We have been going, and believe me, it's getting deeper and deeper. It is getting more and more interesting because the next gentleman that you're about to hear from believes that success in any area of his life is not a result of chance or destiny. It is the outworking of God's divine providence, the reward of faith, virtue, discretion, and persevering efforts. And this quote by Ellen G. White is a statement by which this presenter, John Meeks, is guided. He's an agriculturalist, a project manager, a lifestyle and fitness instructor, is very passionate about anything that aids the mental, physical, and spiritual development of humanity. He too attended the College of Art, Agricultural Science, and Education some 25 years ago. And ever since, he has garnered a wealth of knowledge and experience in the fields of agriculture and project management, from priming the minds of youngsters for success as an educator to managing farms and farming projects. He's now a trainer and consultant for the Jamaica 4-H clubs, the UNDP, and other organizations. And John has made an indelible mark in the agricultural sector. You know, some of the areas in which he has achieved include demonstrating climate resilient technologies for enhanced agricultural production and sustainable livelihoods in rural farming communities. He's facilitated and conducted class and farmer training schools on climate smart agricultural training sessions. He's facilitated study tours to farms utilizing good agricultural practices and agri-technology, water harvesting, drip irrigation. Now, even outside of this, John has his mark of excellence because he has been trained as a public speaker, a health and lifestyle coach, and a superb vocalist. John brings more than gardening to our webinar. He brings holistic development and practicality. And I can't wait to learn from John, and I'm sure you can't either. Please help me make welcome John Meeks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Simone. That felt good listening to it. I didn't know I sound so good on paper, but that's such a joy being here in this wonderful webinar. And just want to say hats off to Hanif and team for putting together this very important webinar, and I'm really pleased to be a part of this. So I'm going to be doing two things quickly. So I'm generally looking at gardening and health, but I wanted to speak briefly on good agricultural practices as I listened to both Hanif and Mr. Wright. I just wanted to give us the context within which when we think about agriculture, recognizing that agriculture is the oldest profession, and it's not because the evolutionists said it, but it's because the genesis of agriculture, the genesis of gardening started in the Garden of Eden. And it was not necessarily for food security. It was not to solve a food shortage problem. That agriculture / gardening was God's design for the continual growth and development of the human machinery. So he gave Adam and Eve the duty of tending the vines, of keeping the garden. And that was so that they would learn more about him. The psalmist David says, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. So that nature is always speaking about God. And the whole practice of agriculture is one that God designed, that as his representatives on the planet, as his managers of the resources, we would continually appreciate who he is as we, on a progressive basis, learn more about him as we interface with plants, flowers, and the fruits of our labor. Let me quickly share here. Is everybody seeing my screen?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. All right. So here's a phrase that you should work with and walk with. It says, better than knowledge is applied knowledge. So all the things that you're learning here, all the things that you're seeing as we interface and interact, the goal is not to fill your mental library so you can put the information and store it, never to use it. The aim and the goal is to get you practicing, is to get you applying those things that you will be learning or would have learned. All right.
Slide
So,
through, please.
yes, let me try it. Good. Right. There you go. Thanks much. All right. So, in terms of understanding good agricultural practices, we must understand the importance of agriculture. And I mentioned prior that agriculture was your first profession, instituted in a sinless environment. Yes? So that understand that from the point of sin to now, agriculture is still very important and requires our attention, whether or not we are providing or producing for sale or just producing for our kitchen. So good agricultural practices looks at the need for producing quality and for doing so in a way that is minimally impacting the environment. That's really what good agricultural practices are about. All right. So we're talking about food production. Of course, there's livestock, but the essential thing is that these practices be so integrated that your production is optimal. And forgive me if I'm just speeding through here. All right. So as the population of the world increases, the challenges exist, and you would have heard both Hanif and Mr. Wright make mention. And so we are always challenged to be producing more. The sad reality is that most of us are depending on the big producers. And what that is doing, it is creating a situation where if they can't produce, we don't eat. That was not the case of yesteryear, because our parents did produce a significant portion of what we wanted, and we only bought those things that we could not produce. And so you find that even saving money was a benefit of having this kind of mindset. All right, so as you think about getting into agriculture, improving agriculture, whether you're going hydroponics or whether you're going gardening, there's a process you follow. You identify what's needed, you identify what spaces you have, what requirements are needed, what you can do, what you can't do. You make plans, you execute, and you monitor. So this is just a general process that you should follow in any problem, in any situation, in any undertaking. You identify, you plan, you execute, and you keep monitoring. The four fundamental pillars of good agricultural practices, talking about economic viability, talking about environmental stability, you're talking about social accountability, and we're talking about food safety and quality. And if you look at these four pillars, what Hanif and Mr. Wright has done is showed you that it is economically viable and that these things are environmentally stable and sustainable. As a matter of fact, within the broader context of global climate change, these gardening, hydroponics, these are what you call adaptation mechanisms, so that as the changes evolve in the environment where we cannot depend on certain natural flows, the use of these technologies, basic though they may be, are considered vital adaptation strategies that we use as a people to continue to sustain our need for food and food security. All right, so I had, so in terms of, again, in terms of your gaps, and by gaps we mean good agricultural practices. Always know that you want to determine the type of crop you're going to be growing, the agronomic requirements of that crop. So if you're going to plant callaloo, please read up on the requirements of the crop. If you're going to be planting cabbage, lettuce, red peas, peanut in your garden, hydroponically or whatever it is, know the agronomic requirements, all right? And know the purposes for which you are producing the crop. And of course, study your location, whether it's in a drum at the back of your house, whether you're using the hydroponic system just showed to you by Hanif and Company, whether you're using the garden patterns that Mr. Wright outlined, know the area and your location and the environmental situation of that area, because that is going to determine the successes or failures of a particular crop or different crop types. All right. In terms of generally looking at agricultural practices for gardening, you need to know about nursery management. Mr. Wright spoke about whether you're growing your own seedlings or whether you're purchasing your own seedlings, purchasing seedlings. So you need to read up, inform yourself. The good thing about it is we live in the information age, and the information is at your fingertips, literally. So read up on these things, learn things like hardening off. And hardening off is a process where if this you have to prepare the seedlings to be planted out into the external environment. And if the plant is not properly hardened off, then when you plant it in your garden or wherever, then the plant will not survive or will not produce as it should, because you did not prepare it properly for introducing it into your garden or wherever. All right. Then soil management, read up, know about soil management. Irrigation, again, Hanif showed you about minimizing the requirements for water use by use of hydroponics. Learn about the water requirements or the moisture requirement of plants. It's not rocket science. It's basic information that is very vital for you to be successful in your gardening, and whether you want to take that to a higher level and become a full-fledged farmer producing for profit. All right. Fertilizer management, whether you're using commercialized fertilizer or organic fertilizer, you need to know the pros and cons of both and how you can best apply it. Pest management, whether you're using natural biological means of pest control or you're going to be using integrated pest management, know your chemicals, knows what companies produce what, read up on the negatives, the side effects of these chemicals, and make a determination of whether or not you want to use them. All right. So some areas in which gaps transcends all crops: you water quality, soil quality, pesticide handling, manure, fertilizer management, and the environment. All right. So again, I'm just scrolling through this. I want to go to the last slide here. Last slide here. Good. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, good agricultural practices are really a guidelines, and it's ensuring good agricultural best practices. And because you're doing it in your backyard, in a bucket, in a box, in a tire, in a hydroponic setup, doesn't mean that you shouldn't take care and precision, because you'll be learning a lot and you'll be gaining a lot from what you've learned. And if you apply, better than knowledge is applied knowledge. And that information is ever changing. Be aware of that and emerging. So you should keep yourself up to date on the newest information regarding crop growth and whatever technologies are available that can assist you in producing for your own table, producing for your own kitchen, or it may encourage or motivate you to move further up and become a big-time farmer. As a matter of fact, farming is something that's a very low cost or low for entry, and quite a few people enter the entrepreneurial side of farming. And starting your garden might just be the first step towards introducing you to a profitable agricultural business. All right, so I'll stop sharing this one. And I will share this other slide. Right. Oh, sorry, I missed out sharing this. No, sorry. A sec. Let me close this here. Stop. Right. Oh, seem to be having a glitch here. Give me a second. Oh.
That's okay.
All right, great, great. There we go. Is everybody seeing that now?
Yes, we are.
All right, good. All right, so gardening and your health. So the story goes back to the Garden of Eden, where God created everything that was needed and said to Adam and Eve, here is this beautiful space. I'm giving you your first duty. Take care of this garden, nurture it, tend to the vines. That's your assigned duty in a perfect environment. And so in Genesis 2:15 says, the Lord God took the man and put him into the garden to dress it and to keep it. And therefore the Lord sent him out of the garden after sin. The Lord had to send him out of the garden to cultivate the ground from which he was taken. And Genesis 4:2 references that the practice of agriculture continued. That Abel was the keeper of the flocks and Cain was a tiller of the ground. So, ladies and gentlemen, unlike what the evolutionists are telling us, that we started out looking like some monkey creatures, and then we started hunting, we took rocks and we killed animals, and then we started learning to gather seeds. Absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Our very first profession from the Creator's hand was agriculture. In a perfect environment and in a sinful environment, agriculture was still given to us with its benefits. So we can all benefit from gardening and from producing our own foods. And these are projects, whether we're taking them on in a little bucket behind the house, or we have a prescribed area, set piece of land that we can undertake, or we're going to get all those necessary accessories for hydroponic farming. We can all benefit from gardening. And it is widely recognized that regular contact with plants, with animals, and with the natural environment can and does improve our physical health and our mental well-being. It is for that reason that personally, I like to take nature walks. I like to look at the little buds. I like to look at the fruit. Just this morning, I was in my little space picking some papaya from a tree that I have there. And from time to time, I will plant my herbs, my basil, my mint, my lemongrass, the whole works, so that it's therapeutic. But as I mentioned before, even in a sinless environment, God designed it that we should be continually learning about him. Sadly, we were evicted, or our forefathers, Adam and Eve, were evicted from this beautiful space, and we were sent into the harsh reality of a sinful context to work the field in the face of briars and thorns and weeds. And this is why so many people shy away from gardening now, because it is such an arduous task. It is so hard. You plant your little crop and or flower, and when you look, there's more weeds than anything else, and it's disconcerting for some people. But nonetheless, we're advised and we're admonished to keep at it and to be involved in gardening. To Adam, God said, because you have listened to the voice of your wife and have eaten from the tree which I commanded that you shouldn't, cursed is the ground because of you. In the toil of it you will eat all the days of your life. Both thorns and thistles it shall grow for you, and you will eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your face you will eat bread till you die, or till you return to ground. Because from it you were taken, for you are dust, and to the dust shall you return. Understand and know that this curse is also in and of itself a blessing. It is through the institution of this curse that the challenges associated with farming, with agriculture, with gardening becomes a means by which the human machinery would continue to develop and grow in a sinful environment. Had God not cursed the earth and things just happened in their richest, fullest sense without any exertion of efforts from us, we would become fat, we'd become overweight, we'd be obese, we'd be mentally lazy, spiritually dwarfed, and all those negative attributes you can mention or conceive. And so God cursed the earth so that we may be consistently, continually applying ourselves so that we may grow even in the sinful context. Proverbs 12:11, he who tills the land will have plenty of bread, but he who pursues worthless things lack sense. And I just want to say to all of us with our different professions, some of us don't see dirt unless we step outside or we see it on our shoes bottoms, right? Some of us don't touch dirt any at all. And so I want to encourage you to get some soil, plant something in a pot. When last have you planted a flower, a seed, and watch it grow to fruition and reap its benefits? Isaiah 7:25, as for the hills which used to be cultivated with the hoe, you will not go there for fear of bears and thorns, but they will become a place of pasturing for oxen and sheep. Ezekiel 36:34, the desolate land will be cultivated instead of being a desolation in the sight of everyone who passed by. Do you have a plot of land right now in the back of your house somewhere? Do you have some space on your high-rise building in Canada or wherever you are, in Portland, in Kingston, in St. Catherine? Do you have a little piece of free space in the house or around the house that looks desolate? You can follow the injunction from Ezekiel 36:34 and cause that desolate place to become fruitful. All right. The sluggard does not plow after the autumn, so he begs during the harvest and has nothing. And I want to just use that to speak a little about what we learned through COVID. And Hanif mentioned that over 820 odd million people don't know where the food is coming from. And we recognize that during the pandemic, that a lot of things that we were accustomed to getting on our supermarket shelves, and we got so accustomed to using that almost instantly, things like cup soup, you couldn't get it. And some people were thrown out of work because these basic things just weren't accessible anymore. And we found that the things that we had thrown aside as cheap and common, our own ground provisions and stuff, we had to resort to them instead of the rice and the wheat flour and all these, because we couldn't get them imported. And if that hasn't taught us anything, it has said to us in a strong way, plant your own, grow your own. Ecclesiastes 5:9, after all, a king who cultivates the field is an advantage to the land. And so we see here the prominence, the importance, and the value of gardening or agriculture as we see it. So there are benefits, health benefits, and one of the part of the major health benefits is that in order to improve physical health, regular involvement in gardening or formal horticultural therapy, these things can, one, increase your overall levels of physical activity and fitness, burns calories, and contributes to your weight management and reduce the risk of obesity. So get out in the garden. You know, the truth is, it's very rare these days that you see, whether male or female, with their little shear or their little secateurs, that little scissor looking thing, you know, pruning a plant, you know, or planting outside of guys, you see planting for selling. You hardly see people planting a little this and a little pot here and there. And so we're encouraged to take advantage of the health benefits of getting involved in gardening. Gardening increases our consumption of healthy foods. If you plant it, you take more pleasure in eating it. And as I encouraged us to read on these things, learn more information, the information becomes beneficial because then we begin to understand the nutritional value and the nutritional content of the different things we are growing. And the fact that we can grow these things helps us and puts us in a better position to become more understanding of what our body requirements are and to grow those things that we need to be putting in our body. Gardening also improves young people's appreciation for eating healthy. And so we want to encourage you to encourage your children, no matter how young or how old they are, if you can get them involved with gardening, then it also increases their chances of eating healthy and reduces their the incidence of them being overweight. Sadly, a lot of young people, things like diabetes, all these dietary or lifestyle related illnesses are just really hacking down our young people. And if they were gardening, I tell you, a lot of this could be prevented. Gardening reduces physical pain and helps with rehabilitation or recovery from things like surgery. Again, this would be under the supervision or prescribed by your physician if you're just coming back from a surgery or an injury. Very often there are doctors all over the world who would prescribe gardening as therapy, as recuperating therapy for persons who are recuperating from injuries. Again, to improve mental health for people with acute or persistent mental health problems or persons who have mental challenges, gardening can and will contribute to improve social interactions and community cohesion, the reduction of the occurrence of episodes of stress and the severity of stress and associated depression. Gardening reduces one's reliance on medication, helps reduce self-harming behavior, and it limits the need to visit the psychiatrist or your mental health professionals, all right? It also improves your alertness and your cognitive ability and your social skills. And around the world, again, physicians use gardening to assist patients, especially the seniors who are suffering from dementia or Alzheimer's, because it helps with things such as agitation and aggressive behavior. Again, gardening really provides a productive outlet, a productive manual activity that benefits people for social interaction. With gardening, you can call your spouse, you can call your children, you can call your extended family, you can get involved at a community level, at a church level. You can just invite a friend, and just participating in that manual activity together builds social cohesion and interaction. It builds people's mental ability to cope with stress and just to be able to interact in a way that is peaceful and in a way that supports relationship growth and building. For persons who have drug addictions or alcohol dependency, being immersed in gardening activities helps in your overcoming the drug addiction or alcohol dependency. Again, it is a strategy developed and used all over the world to assist people to deal with these debilitating circumstances. It helps people manage the stress associated with mental challenges. And I tell you, if you recognize how we just go to work and come back, go to work and come back again, Hanif mentioned about the white light on our laptops and our phones. We are exposed to so much of our laptops and our phones that by the time we get home, we feel distressed, we feel depressed with the workload. But if you just have some gardening activity going on, whether it's one root or two root of something that you need to look at, maybe 5 minutes per day, or maybe after you come from work, you're pruning here, you're looking at your hydroponic things to see how they're growing. just by virtue of being involved in those activities will really, really, really help you in dealing with both mental and physical stresses. Again, it's social therapy. Horticulture, whether you're doing it for the beauty of the flower or whether you're doing it from an agronomic food or food producing perspective, gardening does have significant health benefits. Again, get out there, ladies and gentlemen, plant a flower, plant a rose, plant something, plant a bloom, plant a seed, reap from it, and reap the benefits of physical, spiritual, and mental health. All right. Gardens, as well as the activity of gardening, have been shown to have positive impact on your health and well-being, both from a physical perspective and from a mental perspective. It just stimulates the brain. As a matter of fact, when you're sitting around your computers all the day, one of the advices, every half an hour, you go look at something green. And that helps the eyes. I know it works for me because sometimes when you get from in front of your laptops or your phone, your eyes are just dazzling. You can't see straight. Everything is blurred. But the advice is for about 5 minutes or so, just look at something naturally green. Nature's greenery will help to bring your eyes back in focus. All right. Again, gardening is a big mental health supporter. And we just want to encourage you to take the time to do some gardening and to be involved in something that's productive. All right. Again, involve your children. Involve the children. One of the sad reality is that we indirectly curse the children, you know. We tell them, you know what I used to do when I was a boy? When I was a girl, I used to have to go and visit my father at the farm, and I used to have to be weeding out the garden. Truth is, they don't have a garden to weed. They don't have a goat to tie out. They don't have a pig to go and feed. You know, they don't have a cow to go and watch grandfather milk the cow. And so we curse them, or we tell them, you need to be doing something physical, when the truth is the environment and the times within which we live have very little to offer them the kind of physical activity and immersion that we want them to be doing. It becomes our responsibility, therefore, parents, guardians, whoever you are, to find ways and means of immersing our children in gardening. You will not regret the benefits of doing so. It will help you to take them from them, the laptops, the tablets and all these devices, because they'll become more interested and fascinated with gardening. Again, gardening is a physical activity, and there is a range of tasks that uses the upper body, the lower body, digging, turning, composting, and they offer moderate intensity physical activity, whilst others use primarily the upper body, like standing and squatting for as low intensity physical activity. Gardening is exercising. Low intensity, moderate intensity exercise. So if you think that you're not getting enough physical activity, gardening is certainly something that is designed for you. And here are just some quotations from Ellen G. White, Inspiration from God. She says, let men and women work in the field and the orchard and the garden. This will bring health and strength to the nerves and muscles. Living indoors and cherishing invalidism is a very poor business. If those who are sick will give nerve and muscle and sinew proper exercise in the open air, their health will be renewed. Are you sick? Are you lazy? Are you lethargic? Gardening is the remedy for you. The most astonishing ignorance prevails in regard to putting brain and bone and muscle into active service. Every part of the human organism should be equally taxed, and this is necessary for the harmonious development and action of its every part. Then she says, many do not see the importance of having land to cultivate and of raising fruit and vegetables that their tables may be supplied with these things. I'm instructed to say to every family and every church, God will bless you when you work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. fearing lest by unwise treatment of the body, you will mar the Lord's plan for you. I say to you, gardening was given to us in a perfect environment, and gardening is required of us in an imperfect environment. So the encouragement from today is start gardening something in a box, in a bottle, hydroponic gardening, whatever kind of gardening. From today, those of you who are attending this session, commit now to your health, mental, physical, and spiritual by immersing yourself in gardening activities. And finally, the surroundings of a sanitarium, it said, should be as attractive as possible. Out of door life is a means of gaining health and happiness. So you see a lot of us spending money going to the doctor. If we were gardening, if we were getting a regular exposure to sunlight, if we were immersed in meaningful activities of gardening, we would save a lot of money and a lot of health-related issues if we continued the injunction from Eden to be tending the vines or taking care of what we eat and growing plants which have aesthetic appealing value. It's just such a wonder to step out into your little backyard or your garden and look at a rose that's blooming, or a wild plant that has blossomed, or like I did today, picking a couple papaya from a tree I have, or ever so often clearing out the lemongrass or the mint and planting a new variety ever so often. We understand that we're challenged by time, but I say to you, if you don't make it happen, it will not happen. So you're saying you don't have the time. You're saying you're so busy at work that you can't find the time. I will tell you this, if you were to drop down dead tomorrow, God forbid it, they would replace you in a second because you are not indispensable. Find things that are therapeutic, things that are healthy, things that are productive, things that are spiritually, physically, and mentally developmental and rewarding. There is benefit in gardening, in growing healthy, in living healthy, and in practicing good gardening practices. Thank you.
Wow. We have been taken on a journey today. We have been taken on a journey that took us from organic gardening to one of the technologies that can be used to enhance gardening, hydroponics, to the benefits of actually gardening, because it's important for us to understand the why behind doing what we do. No, I will invite you, if you have any questions, type them in the chat, write them down. I will quickly jump to Cheviel Naturals, because here we're going to be introduced to and invited to consider the things that we can do with what it is that we have gardened. And we're going to be hearing from Candice as she shares with us what it is that she has done with the natural things around us. But John, I must say, the way you brought it together for us and connected it was like out of this world. Thank you so very much for connecting our health, our mental, physical, spiritual well-being to gardening. Javier, over to you. If you're speaking though, Javier, or not, Candice, we're not hearing you.
All right.
There we go.
I can hear you now?
Yes, we're hearing you now.
Okay, then great. All right, so I was blessed by the presentation a while ago, I must say. I really love the connection between actual agriculture and also our spiritual well-being. As you can see, we're definitely coming towards a time where learning how to be more, self-sufficient is definitely a plus. Can you see my screen?
No, it stopped showing when you started to speak. So if you can share again, please.
All right, then, sure, no problem. This one. Can you see now?
Wait, it's coming up. Yes, we're seeing it now.
Okay, then great. All right, so good afternoon, everyone. I'm Candice Gordon from Cheviel Naturals. And basically, Cheviel is a holistic hair and skincare brand that seeks to holistically improve the health of our customers' hair and skin. As we talk a lot about gardening, it's also important to use natural products on our hair and on our skin, as well as herbs as well. And just a little backstory as to how we got started. Basically, when my sister and I were like teenagers, we were like on this quest searching for natural remedies that can actually work. And so over a period of time, especially for me, as I embarked upon my natural journey of becoming plant-based and so on, I recognize that both of them are very important for optimum hair and skin health. So basically today we are on a mission, right? To basically inspire others to naturally maintain the beauty of their hair and skin by providing a line of organic-based hair and skincare products, as well as hair and skincare recommendations and community support. So even though now we're currently just manufacturers of natural hair and skincare products, we want to ultimately become a brand that provides consultations, help people to embark upon that natural journey of how can I, switch from, using also different things on my skin and on my hair, using more natural stuff, as well as your diet and your lifestyle as well. Right, so while that is taking its time to switch over. So I just wanted to kind of introduce a little concept to you guys. Those of you guys who have natural hair, or if you have, even if you don't have natural hair, it's still very important to you, and that's the liquid oil and cream method called lock. So a lot of persons, especially if you have natural hair, a lot of people just use oil and that is it. But did you know that oil does not moisturize your hair? It just actually seals in moisture into your hair. So if you're using like a coconut oil or Jamaican black castor oil, it's very important that you actually incorporate a cream or a water-based product. So from my personal experience, I've found that before I was just using the oils in my hair, but my sister hair was like growing and mine was just breaking. It was greasy, but it didn't feel soft. And so I actually came up with the fenugreek and oats moisturizer. And what that does, it actually helps to soften the hair and also helps with detangling it as well. So you'll find that it's actually a game changer, and it's made with fenugreek, which Indians call methi, and it's very common in curry, and that actually helps to promote hair growth, helps with like thinning as well as regrowth as well. And then right here we have what we call a fine mist butter. So that's a game changer as well, because sometimes lots of people don't like wetting up their hair. So even if you have relaxed hair, having a fine mist butter allows for your hair to get misty without feeling wet. And this is just a picture of one of our butters, which is the castor neem butter. So a lot of people may not be so familiar with neem. It's very common in Jamaica, and it has a lot of benefits for your hair in terms of hair growth, but also for your skin in terms of fungal diseases, hyperpigmentation, and even eczema as well. So I want to share to you guys a quick little video of how to actually incorporate the LLC method in your hair care routine. So that was basically our fenugreek and oats moisturizer in use. And of course, you may be wondering, are these products as natural as possible? Well, yes. So 90% of our ingredients are actually Jamaican. So we actually get our castor oil from Manchester, which is where honey is from. We get our coconut oil from St. Thomas. And like it's mango season, we have a lot of mangoes making mango charcoal soap. So we have a variety of products ranging from oils to butters to soaps, and we even have our wash day kit as well. And just for being, actually coming on board, we recently had some bundle deals, and if you would like, all of the sale is finished. You can actually reach out to us to actually order one of our bundles as well. So we have our all-rounder bundle, our wash day kit, and our keeping it moist, which is a great one to get. And we also have it in the miniature versions as well if you want to size small. But if you're not interested in the bundles, that's fine. You can actually stop at any of these locations island-wide. And we also send our products across the island and also to the US, Canada, and to the UK as well. So if you are in Kingston, we started at UE, so most of our locations are there. You can pick up at UE Mona, Devon House Shop 4, New Kingston Pharmacy, and of course, Maranatha Health Food Store. If you're in St. Catherine, you can also pick up at Spanish Town at Central Beauty Supplies Limited, right? And you can also pick up at Stone's Wellness Pharmacy, that's in Old Harbour, right beside Dong Dong. But if you're in Manchester or Ochi or Mobile, you can definitely stop by Proactive Lifestyle and check out our products there. So feel free to reach out to us. We're big on giving you that holistic approach. So if you need assistance with product recommendation or you're trying to transition from you want to transition to a more plant-based diet, or you want to learn how can you incorporate more of the herbs in your garden, in your hair and skincare routine, feel free to reach out to us. We're currently kind of like doing a pilot for a consultation or consultancy, right? That's what we're really hoping to head to soon. So if you like to get more details in terms of how can I take that step to go back to eating in my lifestyle, and of course, when we're here in skincare routine, can definitely WhatsApp us or call us at 876-513-7719. And you can also send us an email at cheviel@gmail.com. Oh, also, if you're on Instagram and Facebook, it's just simply at Cheviel. So thank you so much for listening and join the natural journey with Cheviel.
Wow. Thank you, Xavier Natural. Thank you, Candice, for sharing with us. One of our sponsors this afternoon, of course, the other being Isratech at Jamaica Limited. I think Isratech, well, I think Isratech is here in Manchester and also in Montego Bay. I believe they do have another store probably in the eastern part of the island. I thank you all so very much for being our sponsors. But of course, our major sponsor, Whet Solutions. So, let me hear, have you been blessed? Have you been educated? Have you learned from this afternoon session? Yes, I don't see the reactions. You can put a yes in the chat. You can, yes, hands up. There we go. I see the reactions coming through. No, no. Oh, you forgot your giveaway. All right. So Cheviel has the giveaway. Hanif has the giveaway. So Hanif, the person, and Cheviel is gonna come and do her giveaway now. The person from our earlier question is R.M. Jackson. He was the first one at 2:51 to put the answer in the chat. So we have noted your name, R.M. Jackson, and Hanif will take care of that. Cheviel, you ready to give that prize?
Yes, I am. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot it. All right, so I want to share my
I'll
video.
take it.
I have something for you as well.
All right, thank you.
All right, so in this little, if you guys can see it, it's a little box, right? And this is actually like our keeping it moist bundle. So I'll actually be giving away a mini version of it where you can get our herbal butter or castellane butter. or fenugreek and oat moisturizer. And you also get that famous what I was telling you guys about, right? All right, so the question is, what does LOC stand for? Wait, and list 2 products that you can actually use in the LOC method. All right, so the question is, what does the LOC mean, right? And what are 2 products that can be used?
Now we have a lot of people firing off the answer already, you know.
Going on in the chat.
Yes, man, it's in
Who
the
was the
chat. Let's
first
see who was
one?
the first. I believe
Was
it's
that Grace?
Grace. Yes, it was.
Which answer part of the question? And
Oh,
who
that's
answered?
only a part of the question, Grace. I'm sorry.
Right, so who is NM? That look like Nisha. I know.
Nisha and Moiston, yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, it looked like it was Nisha who got the first part.
Complete answer. Yes.
Got the complete answer. Yeah, Nisha was the first. I don't know if she should get it to the.
Well, if not, then of course there's Grace. So you will
Yeah,
decide.
to both of them.
There we go. Congratulations to our winners. And of course, Mr. Jackson, RM Jackson. I'm sure Hanif will take care of you. Please be sure to send him a message so that he will have your contact details in order to have you taken care of. So we welcome back and we thank you. Thank you so very much for joining us this afternoon. I'll invite Hanif to come back at this time as he gives us a wrap. It was my distinct pleasure to have supported you through the conversation